All right, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Going from 1-2 to 1025 in just 2 months. Last video was a banger. We got about halfway through the challenge, got done with 1-2 and made a lot of progress through 2-5 as well. So the challenge total going into this week is right here. Remember, had to make 5K at 1-2 to move up to 2-5. Got that done, and then we need to make another 20K at 2-5 to move up to 1025. And then I'm gonna take $10,000 and shot take the big game, and hopefully it'll go well. We'll see. We'll get to that point when we get there, basically. But without further ado, let's go into the hands of this week. And there's a lot of action. You're going to want to stick around. Day 30 started in the absolute blender. I've got queen 10 of clubs on the button. I call a cutoff open. Could 3-bet here, but why would I? The big blind's going to do the 3-betting for us. He makes it $100 to go. Original raiser folds. I'm in position with a pretty good hand. I make the call. Flop doesn't help much. It's king 8-7 1 club. But when he down bets, I think we're priced in to see a turn here. A lot of cards that could help us, and in this case it does. It's the 10 of diamonds. Really happy to see him check it over to me now. I don't think betting would accomplish much for us, so I check it back, and the final card is a 5. Probably doesn't change too much. Now, I don't want to see him bet like 150, 160. I think that'd be queens, jacks, a weak king that didn't want to go for 3 streets of value. Those kinds of hands a lot, but thankfully he doesn't do that. No, he bets much bigger. He puts us all in. A huge bet, like 2 times the pot. And yeah, this is a tough spot. And this is the thing, is good players like the guy I'm playing against here, they're gonna put you in some crazy situations. Really not sure about this one, but I think that his natural bluffs like ace jack, ace queen, queen jack would have kept betting on the turn. They wouldn't go for this line. So it doesn't really make much sense, but I decided to fold here. Not sure about it at all. Day 30 wasn't very eventful. Small loss for us, but way more action to come. Day 31 starts off a lot friendlier for us in the form of pocket aces. There's a straddle, a raise, and a call. I'm loving all this action. Of course I 3-bet, but unfortunately the original raiser makes the fold. Doesn't look like we're going to get much action here, but wait. The player who originally called the raise now goes all in. We've got about the same size stack. Of course I make the call. He's got pocket queens, sick cooler. Kind of sucks for him. He trapped us pretty well, but this time I have it. We agree to go twice. First board comes out jack high. Absolutely clean for us. Second board, another face card, but it's a king, no queens in sight, and yeah, we're gonna win a huge one with really just a cooler. Then we play a PLO double board bomb pot. Never know how these are gonna go, and really I've been playing them pretty cautiously lately. I've gotten felted like a bunch of times in the past on these kind of overplaying hands, and now I feel like I underplay. I let people see rivers where I should be like really bumping it up early, but in this case I was kind of the person who got to see the rivers and win a bunch. I rivered quads on one board and a full house on another one. Wasn't a huge pot, but we did get some value on the river. Now the session's kind of looking a lot like last week where, you know, we just couldn't miss. Let's hope that continues. And I'm going to put in a little heat check here. Jack 7 of spades. If you know me, you know I like to play spades aggro. I 3-bet an open, and we're going to go heads up to a flop. Ace 10-6 rainbow. Definitely a board that favors us. When he checks, I put in a bet. Don't think we have to go big here. I just go small, and he makes the call. Turn, pretty interesting. Queen of spades. So now we have a flush draw and a gut shot straight draw. Another card that really favors our range. I put in a bigger bet this time, $140, and unfortunately he's gonna check raise here. $350. Not a huge raise. He's got about $1,000, maybe $1,100 behind this bet, and we do cover. I consider just ramming it here just because I'm more likely to have a big hand. Unless he has like king jack somehow, which, you know, with the jack in my hand and the action before, it's pretty unlikely. Or pocket 10s. I think those are pretty much the big hands he could have. 6s also. But I decided just call in position, hope to hit a spade or a king. Neither one comes though. It's the 9 of diamonds, and he bets out pretty big, $600. Like I said, he doesn't have very much left behind at this point. I don't think it's possible to bluff at this point. I'm just wishing I had jack 8 instead of jack 7, but nope. Just jack high for us. Gotta let it go. We upgrade to ace jack this time. I raise it up over a limp, then the small blind puts in a raise. Pretty small, $85. It's less than 4x my raise, and it's out of position, so when it gets back around to me, I don't think about folding. I think about putting in a 4-bet bluff or just calling. Now, my light 3-bet last hand didn't go so well, so maybe that's why I decided to just make the call this time. And the flop comes down 9-6 deuce, 2 spades. We do have the jack of spades, which would be a lot better to have the ace of spades, but when he down bets, again, kind of like the first hand, we don't have a lot going on, but can't really fold for this price, especially with 2 overs and some backdoor spades. I call, turn is a queen queen of spades. Now he puts in the check, and I'm pretty sure my hand isn't good. Maybe I'm tying with like other ace highs. I could start bluffing here, or I could check back and evaluate the river. That's what I decided to do. The river comes in 9, and he bets out kind of small, 165. I think he's really capped with the way that he's played this hand. I don't think he has a 9, and I don't think he has a flush, basically. I think the best hand he could have is a queen, maybe like pocket kings or pocket aces with a spade in it. But basically, at best, he has 2 pair. I think the way I played, I could easily have a 9, and I could also have a flush that I disguised on the turn. So I don't think ace high is good. I'm going to put in a raise, 565, and he goes into the tank. Now, this guy is another good player, similar to the first hand of the video. I think a lot of people have this misconception that Texas poker is easy, that there's like all this action, so like it's easy to just make money, but that's not true at all, actually. Yes, there's a lot of action, but with that come the sharks. And this guy's a shark, guy in the first hand's a shark. I like to think I'm a shark, but it's debatable. And sometimes you have to fight with the other sharks. And in this case, the player goes into the tank for a long time, like I said. It's like over 2 minutes, which doesn't sound like a long time in real life, but at the poker table, it can be an eternity, especially when you're bluffing. He goes back and forth on his options, but finally, he lays it down. Let's go. Man, that was a long one, bro. I end up leaving the game shortly after, booked a nice win, but the day's not over. We're going to come back later that night and try to do it all over again. And we come back and get a really similar hand to the last session, right? Not aces this time, but how about cowboys? I raise it up, a couple guys make the call, another guy puts in a raise. It gets back around to me. This is a pretty great hand. I'm gonna 4-bet, and the raiser's gonna put us all in. Not super deep here, but hype to get in with kings. And just like before, we're up against queens with an even better hand. Let's see how it goes this time. You wanna go twice? Okay, I have kings, are you sure?
Heart. Whoa, almost good. I saw it. Just sit down, pick up kings, queens, jacks.
Alright, so definitely running hot so far today. The biggest hands I've won have just been absolute pre-flop coolers, but we're gonna have to do some maneuvering to keep winning like this. And boy, do I maneuver this hand. We've got ace-queen offsuit with the ace of spades. That part is important. The flop comes down with 2 spades. Pretty dry board otherwise. I check, a player bets, and I'm going to put in a chunky little raise here. Definitely a bluff, but I think this will get through a lot of the time. In this case, it doesn't. He makes the call, and the turn is exactly what I was hoping for. It's a spade. Now we're basically just going to act like we have the nut flush. I put in another bet, and he puts in another call. Now, nightmare scenario is he has a big flush himself, like a king high, a queen high, a jack high flush. I doubt we'll be able to get him off those hands. Unless, of course, the river is a spade. Oh, no, it's not, though. It's not. It's the 3 of hearts. And like I said, I doubt I can get him off a big flush, but I think I could get him off a small flush. Definitely 2 pair, whatever other stuff he could have. I'm going to put in a big bet, 550, and he goes into the tank. Now, we got a big bluff through with ace jack before, so I'm not nervous this time. I think we'll be all right. I think we'll get it through. And it looks like he's going to fold his cards, but nope. He puts in the call, and it's a really good call. He has 6-7 of diamonds, so he rivers a straight. I find that people don't really like to fold when they improve on the river, even if I'm kind of like repping a better hand. But it's a good call down by him all the way. I mean, he called a check raise with just a pair of 7s, and then when the flush came in, he still called. I wonder what would have happened if the river was like a deuce instead of a 3. Would he still make the call? Either way, very well played by him, and yeah, my maneuvering isn't really going so well today. So I lose back all the profit I got with the pocket kings, but never to worry because the boys are back. There's a raise to 20, a bunch of people call. I'm going to squeeze it up from the big blind. I go 120, and only the original raiser to my left makes the call. Flop looks a little dangerous, not exactly hitting my range, but with pocket kings, I'm going to keep betting. He makes the call again, and well, if there was ever a doubt, the turn erases it. It's a king. I bet again. This time he puts all of his chips in the middle. Of course, I'm going to call. It turns out he's got a king himself, but he has a flush draw to go with it. As usual in this challenge, I want to go twice, but he wants to go one time, and thankfully he bricks out, so the boys save us again. Then we get the beautiful 4-3 suited. I raise it up. A player in the small blind by the name of Mr. Corey Eyring is going to put in a 3-bet. And I wouldn't fold these cards in position for the world. Of course I call.
Dealer! One shot!
Yeah, but not this time, bro. There's 4 clubs out there, but there are also 2 3s. We checked it all the way down to the river, and he didn't have a club, so 3 is good.
Oh, wait, who's who here?
And we upgrade 3-4 to 3-5. After flopping middle pair, I bet. After turning 2 pair, I bet. After the river probably doesn't change much, I bet. But this time our opponent makes the fold. So not a ton of value with a sneaky 2 pair here, but overall a great day of poker for us. We're really on track with the challenge now. Let's keep this momentum going into day 32. Well, day 32 doesn't get off to the best start. I make probably a pretty bad call down with pocket 9s. I called the flop, I called the turn, I called the river, and I lost to ace king. I hope that there's no foreshadowing from this hand. I'm sure there isn't. Let's move on. We raise up king 4 of clubs over a limp. I think suited kings are really underrated. You should probably be playing more of them than you do. And the reason for that is when you go 3 ways to a flop, you could just flop a flush. That's more like it. I keep betting, and we're actually going to get raised here by the button. On such a wet board, I think there's a lot of hands he could have that we beat, that we can get it in with. I put in the 3-bet here on the flop, and he quickly goes all in. Of course I call. Hope he doesn't have a straight flush or an ace-high flush. We go twice, and it runs out pretty clean for us. He had 2 pair, so got it in good and held. We're back on track. Then we get a monster, ace king. I raise it up. 3 players make the call, so we're going 4 ways to a flop, and it's a good one. King 9-7, 2 spades. We do have the ace of spades. Action checks to me, and I'm actually going to put in a sneaky check here, again, mostly because I have the ace of spades in my hand. Wouldn't do this too often, but I do it this time. And the player across from us puts in kind of a big bet, $75. This is the same guy that beat us with ace king a minute ago. Maybe we can get revenge here. I make the call. Turn is pretty inconsequential. It's a deuce of hearts. Does bring in a flush draw, so you could have had some semi-bluffs like 10-8 of hearts, jack 10 of hearts that are more incentivized to keep betting now. I check and he puts in a big bet, $300. Slight overbet, kind of sizes up for a river jam. I don't really like the situation anymore, but still I'm gonna make the call, and the river is a king. Well, this is either the best or the worst river in the deck for us. Now we do beat 9-7 suited now, which is nice, and it is possible that the way he played, he could have like king queen or even king jack, and he could end up value owning himself. I don't think there's any reason to lead out. I check it over to him again, and yep, he goes all in. Really big bet. Really tough decision now for us, and like I said, I think he could have worse for value, but I doubt it. He could have pocket 9s, he could have pocket 7s, he could have king 9, or he could have a combo draw like 8-6, 10-8, jack 10, queen 10 that totally missed and is now trying to get me to fold like aces, a king, maybe pocket queens, and this is the only sizing that he'd be able to do it with. I think the way that I've played this hand, I can't have anything better than what I have, so for those reasons, I make the call, and he has pocket 9s. Yep. I guess there was some foreshadowing there before, huh? And for the first time in weeks, I have been felted. Oh, I decided to take a break, but before I can do that, I can't end on a low. I make a bluff on the river with 4 high, and it gets through. Now I'm feeling a little bit better about myself as I leave and come back to play again a few hours later. And when I come back later that night, I'm greeted once again with pocket aces. Dude, I don't know what's going on. I sit down at the table and I just get aces right away. Sometimes kings, but yeah, it's been weird lately. But unfortunately this time, I'm gonna end up losing to a flop set of 10s. Didn't really get a ton of money in though, so didn't lose a ton. But still, nobody likes to get their aces cracked. But that's totally okay because I get aces in the next hand too. This time there's more action pre-flop. A player raises, a player calls. I put in a 3-bet to 125, and the original raiser makes the call. So heads up to a flop here. Queen 9-8 2 hearts. Very wet board. Aces could be beat here, and even if they're not, lot of cards could come that would beat us. Still though, when he checks, I'm gonna bet, and he's gonna raise to $400. I don't have very much left behind that. I think he could be raising worse for value, and he could have a ton of bluffs here, right? Or semi bluffs really. So I'm gonna stick it in. He makes the call. We agree to go twice. I actually turn a set on the first one. Not sure if we need it or not. Second one, not such a great run out, and yeah, actually I needed more than a turn set because he's got Jack 10. He flopped the nut straight and he cracked my aces. Fuck. For the first time in almost 4 hours, I have been felted. Well, let's rebuy and let's try to get it back. 9-8 of hearts. I raise it up. 2 players make the call. We flop middle pair. I continue betting, kind of see where I'm at, and both players make the call again. Turn gives us a lot of help. It's the 5 of hearts. So now we've got a flush draw, straight draw to go along with our pair. Action checks to me, and I could go either way here, but I'm gonna keep betting. Kind of trying to get a king to fold, if not now, then by the river, and also maybe building a pot for if we get there. But nobody calls this time. Instead, one of the players puts in the raise to $400. Don't love this. If I make the call, I'll have about 600 behind. I kind of think all 3 options are on the table here. I could fold, but that seems too nitty. I could call and see if I'll get there, or I could just jam all in. I decide to make the call and see what happens here on the river, and hoping for a 6, hoping for a heart. We get neither. It's the 8 of diamonds, so we do improve to 2 pair here. If he checks, I'm not going to go for value. I'll just check it back, but we don't get that option. He does put us all in. Really not sure what to do here, but the more I think about it, the more folding makes sense, just because a ton of his draws would get there. Jack 10, any 6. He could have like queen 10 of hearts, which we could beat. There's like a few different hands like that, but in the end, I think it's better to fold. That's what I do, and it turns out we were up against pocket 9s. So I guess a good fold on the river, and bro, I'm gonna have nightmares about pocket 9s tonight. I didn't mean to do that. I wanna muck it. What do you have? I didn't see.
Set 9.
Oh, pocket 9? Oh, nice one.
Set 9.
Oh, I should have checked back the turn too. I was thinking about just checking back the turn. From there, I play for like another hour, and honestly, I just don't play very well. I don't really top up my stacks. I'm kind of short stacked for a while. End up getting it in with top pair against 2 pair. We run it twice, and thankfully we chop. I counterfeited him on one of the boards. And then finally we get pocket 9s. What a fitting way for me to go out. I get it all in pre-flop for my last $350 and end up getting called by ace king. Yeah, this seems familiar, but actually this time pocket 9s hold up for us. So that's nice. Get a little win to end the day, but yeah, I lost a bunch on this day of poker between the 2 sessions. Really sucks. Took away pretty much all our profit from the previous day. And yeah, there was some bad luck, but I also could have played better. We've got one more day of poker for this video. Let's see if we can get it all back. Day 33 starts off with an exciting hand. It's king 6 of hearts, and I'll say it again, suited kings, underrated. I raise it up, flop top pair and a flush draw, pretty huge flop for us. I bet, get called. Turn doesn't help us. I bet again, get called again. All right, maybe we're gonna need to hit a flush, and we don't. It's actually like the worst river. It's an offsuit 9. So my draw didn't get there. Maybe the king is still good, but it's really unlikely. I check it over to him, and he puts in a bet, and yeah, I don't think it's worth calling here. I fold. I think he had a straight, but can't be too sure. Alright, it's okay to lose him sometimes. And how about pocket 9s? Maybe today is different. I mean, we did win that last flip at the end last night, right? This time I raise it up, and dude, I flopped top set. Let's go. It's finally swinging our way. I put in a small bet, don't want to scare anybody away, and yeah, 4 players fold. How do you go 5 ways to a flop? Flop a set, bet small, and no action. Well, do pretty much the same thing the next hand. It's pocket 8s this time. Again, I raise it up, and again, we go 5 ways to a flop. And again, I flop top set. This time the board is a little bit more wet though, and so is the action. A player's gonna lead out here for $75. Another player calls, and then the player to my right calls. I'm not gonna call. I'm definitely gonna put in a raise here. I could just jam with my stack size. I'm really not sure, but I end up settling on $450. Definitely need to go big, maybe even bigger than this, just with how wet the board is and how many players are, interested. So the player who let out for 75 doesn't go anywhere. He makes the call. The first caller makes the fold, but the player to my right calls as well. He actually has less. He has about $285 total. So there's going to be a side pot now between me and seat 9. And the turn's pretty good. Queen of clubs. So second flush draw out there, but hey, at least diamonds didn't hit and no straight hit either. He's going to put us all in for our last $300. Very, very happy to make the call. And let's go to a river. Definitely don't want to see a diamond. Club is probably okay. And don't want to see too many straightening cards either, right? Like a 6, 5, 9, 10, jack, not ideal. And it comes out 9 of spades. As long as someone has 6, 5, 10, 6, or jack 10, we're golden. And when we show, we are in fact good. Seat 9 actually had pocket deuces. So yeah, pretty sick set over set. Love set over set. Hate set under set. This one's a good one. The player to my right mucks. And yeah, we're going to scoop a really big pot here, like $2,000. Now this is more like it. Then we raise it up with ace 5 of diamonds, go heads up against the limper, and flop a flush draw on a paired board though. He checks, I down bet small, and he puts in a big check raise, $100. Now, I saw this guy do this exact same play with a draw before, a straight draw, where he raised to exactly $100 on the flop. So this is like a jack a lot of the time, but I think it could also be a worse flush draw than mine. I'm going to play aggressively here with the nut flush draw. I raise it up and he goes all in for not much more. Priced into call now. Think he's got a jack at this point, and the turn's a 3. So if that's true, then we're dead. River doesn't help at all. And yeah, he's got king jack. So got my money in bad here. Like I said, I don't think it's always a jack. I think it could have been a worse flush draw. So that's why I did it. Could have still hit a diamond, but not this time. Shortly after, I decided to head out, come back later that night. I've been enjoying just kind of playing for a few hours, taking a break, and then coming back later at night and playing another few hours. I have kind of a hard time staying focused for like 8 to 10 hour sessions, so this is like a lot better for me personally. Anyways, when I come back, play for a couple hours here late at night, and not too interesting of hands, do chip up a little bit, and our table ends up breaking and merging with another table here late at night. It's like past 2 a.m. and immediately when I sit down, we get ace king offsuit. The player before me raises. I put in a 3-bet. I mean, hey, come on, it's ace king. Then I get cold 4-bet, starting to not love it. And then the player after the cold 4-better makes the cold call, gets back around to me, and yeah, don't have enough here to fold ace king. And this is a hand you want to see 5 cards with, not 3. So I'm going to go all in. First player makes the call and the other player makes the call too. So we're going to go 3 ways here. As always, I try to go twice, but they're not having it. First guy, the guy that put in the cold 4-bet, says he has a pocket pair, but not a big one. So I'm thinking maybe like 8s, 9s, or 10s. The other guy is a mystery to me. So we know we need to improve to beat the first guy at least. And it doesn't look too likely when it runs out 4-3-3 deuce. But at the very end, the king of clubs, probably the best card I could have seen, I show, and we are good. Not sure what pocket pair that one player had, but the third player in their hand had ace jack suited, so we got it in good against him. But obviously the guy with the pocket pair probably had the best odds since we were kind of blocking each other's outs. You gotta win your all-ins in this game, and for the most part we've really been doing that lately, so it's pretty hard to lose when you're doing that. So then we keep on steady playing. I'm mostly bluffing at this point. Some bluffs don't get through, but other bluffs do get through. And we're sitting on about $2,700 in the stack now when our table gets called for a promotion. Now, this might sound like a lame promotion, but TCH was doing this thing where one table gets a free piece of merch for whoever wins the next hand. And they call our table, and the floor brings over a nice blue t-shirt. And this is one I've kind of been eyeing, something I've considered buying but haven't pulled the trigger on. And here's a chance to get it for free. All I gotta do is win the next hand. I actually tell the table I'm gonna try to win this hand no matter what, and when I get dealt jack 9 offsuit, that's good enough to raise. So that's what I do. Flop comes down jack high, I put in a bet. One player makes the call. Turn is another jack. Okay, my kicker's not great, but I'm gonna keep betting. I bet again and he calls again. River's an ace. Let's put in one more bet, $300. Hope to not get raised, right? Instead, he puts in the call, says he has an ace, jack 9 good. We win a big pot here, and more importantly, we get the t-shirt. So stack's looking even healthier now. I close out the night with a couple of failed bluffs. yeah, good calls, fellas. And we're gonna finish up here. Another really good day in the challenge. Kind of a roller coaster of a weekend. Started off hot, then day 32 just sucked, but got it back on day 33. Let's go to the outro and recap the whole week and where we are with the challenge today. All right, check it out. I got the shirt. How about that? And a few $100s with it too. So yeah, that was nice. Anyways, the new challenge total is right here. Had a really good week. We have about 3.5 weeks left in the challenge. So, you know, if things keep going how they've been going, we'll get it done. We'll see. Could have some setbacks. I don't know. But really, like, I don't know. I'm just kind of running good, if I'm just totally honest. Like, a lot of like aces versus queens, kings versus queens, set over set and hold. Yeah, and like the ones that I lose are kind of my fault, like most of the time. Like, I overplay my hands. I don't know why I bluff as much as I do. I bluff like way too much. Nobody folds to me. I think I have like a mistrusting face. I don't know. Do I? Maybe. Anyways, nobody really folds to me, but I still keep bluffing. That's a personal flaw. But anyways, thanks a lot for watching. Hopefully we can keep making progress in the next video, and I'll see you there on the KDog Poker Vlog.